Hello and welcome everyone to another beautiful Saturday for the SMITE Pro League. We've got some very tasty games on the menu today as it comes forward with, but as you can see, my name is Gormizer William Newberry, however you want to call me, and Aggro is going to be alongside me. And Aggro, we've got some interesting matches today. eUnited, Spacestation gaming up first, Knights going up against Sanguine. It's going to be action-packed.
It's going to be a great day, man. I think this eUnited Space Station set is absolutely huge. Space Station has been on a big climb. eUnited has really been slipping, but they're battling for that 6th seed. So this one is really, really important for eUnited to try and find a victory. And then PK might be the hottest team in the league right now outside of SSG, and they'll have to test that win streak up against Sanguine.
I'm excited to be able to see it just because it's an important matchup, and the first team that we're going to be able to kind of take a crack at here is eUnited, and it's important for them because one of the biggest things we've been looking at coming up soon is the playoffs, and the conversation was more or less around, well, the bottom couple of teams, the bottom 2 teams, will not be able to go forward to those playoffs, so you want to be in the top 6, but unfortunately, they've just been racking up losses. If you're the Renegades, you're eUnited, and you're Obey, so if eUnited don't win this, they're still in conversation to get knocked out.
Yeah, this is a really key game for eUnited here, and it's going to be very, very difficult because I really do think that Space Station has looked like the best team in the league as of late, alongside PK and Ghost and Sanguine. I think that those are clearly up top right now. So if eUnited can come out and have a good showing, that'd be really, really key for them morale-wise because they've been really struggling. And in the standings, I think this would eliminate Obey if United's able to find the win, and it would put them in a position where they are favorites to go in as that number 6 seed. And making the playoffs as close as this season has been, you never know what's going to happen, even if you have been struggling going into the actual tournament itself. So really just getting there is the name of the game. But I think that United has a lot of things they need to fix if they're going to find the win today. I think that SSG has looked so good top to bottom. And eUnited, I think, has really, really struggled in finding these late-game team fights, which is where SSG usually thrives.
As of right now, they're on a 3-game loss streak. The last time they got a win was against Radiance in Week 6, so a little bit of work cut out for them, and we got to sit down and talk to Snoopy a little bit earlier to see how exactly they were feeling going into this set.
All right, so I am here with Snoopy, Hunter for eUnited. And the first thing I want to ask you about here, man, is we talked about it a second ago. This has not been a great stretch for you guys. You're on a 3-game losing streak here right now. What's not been clicking for you guys that's given you some trouble throughout this last stretch, and what are y'all working on to try and turn it around?
I don't know if exactly we've kind of figured out, but it's just been like a bunch of different things that I'm not exactly sure what's going wrong, and we all realize there's an issue and a problem, and we're all working together. Like we're all watching back games, and we're all putting in the time. Like we're doing double block scrims, we're putting a lot of extra like practice time afterwards, and picks and bans and stuff. So we're putting in the time, and we're really trying to get back to where we were at the beginning of the split, and I think we can. And it's been going a lot better in scrims and a lot better in practice, and I think we're gelling a lot more, and just a little bit of extra time that we've had and put in has kind of made it more of a team as opposed to 5 individual players just like playing together. And going forward, the more we can coalesce and become like more of a unit, I think the better it's going to be.
I think so too. I mean, I'm glad to hear that you all have obviously, been putting a whole lot of thought into what you can do to try and turn the situation around. So that's good news. Well, you all are playing up against Space Station next, and for a while there, maybe this was something that felt like one where you all could grab it, but they have been looking really strong as of late. Is there something that you all have noticed when you've been watching them back, or any areas where you all see any kind of weakness, or are you all just going to come in and try and execute your game plan?
We have a couple strategies specifically for them, and I'm not going to get too much into that, but I think we have a pretty good shot. We had 2 of them last time, and I think our playstyle works well into their playstyle. So if we execute our game plan and we play to like how I know we can play, then I think we have a good shot.
Well, talk to me a little bit about you and Genetics specifically, because I feel like, the way that you two working together, that's pretty important. And when he first came into the league to work with you all, felt like he came up with a bunch of different game plans, but people started to answer back to that. So how have you two been synergizing specifically? And then how have you all tried to evolve the way that you've played with him after people started responding?
Yeah, so obviously he came in with those crazy horse plays and whatnot, and we've kind of had to go back to more fundamentals and basics once those kind of ran out. But like me and Genetics kind of click really well, at least in lane. Like we have been doing really, really well in scrims and practice offline or off of scrims and stuff. So as long as he can translate that around the map, and like I said, the more we've been playing with him specifically, and like everybody else, like the more everybody kind of knows, oh, Genetics is gonna do this, we're gonna do this. Like we don't have to like vocalize everything, and it makes it more of a fluid and more of a like a clean team environment.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you taking some time to talk with us. Good luck in your next match, man.
Thank you very much.
Well, it sounds like practice and integration for the team has been kind of the factor they've been focused on these last few weeks. Again, a 3-game loss streak right now for eUnited, looking to try and break that. But Aggro, man, they're going up against a team that is hard to beat. In fact, the only team so far that seems to be the hardest to beat, a 6-game win streak. They haven't lost since week 4 of the SBL and Spacestation Gaming. I mean, how do you prepare? I mean, it's the only match you're going against, but how do you prepare against a team like that?
I think it's really hard, and I think that's really contributed to Space Station's win streak as of late, because Dardez is willing to play anything under the sun. I mean, this man played Soul in the SPL. Like, no one is playing that character in casual Siege, let alone in the SPL. But Dardez is willing to pull it out. He's top 3ing Hera really consistently. I think the big thing is that you can't really worry too much about what Dardez is doing, because Dardez has looked good even when his team has not, even when the rest of everyone else around him is struggling. Dardez has looked good no matter what. And I think Nika has done the same. I think those two have been rock solid so far for SSG. And so if I'm on eUnited, I think I'm looking to keep Cheerio out of his comfort zone. I'm looking to keep Raffer out of his comfort zone. I think that those two players, the fact that Cheerio and Raffer have started looking so much better as of late, is really the reason why this team is on such a great win streak. So I think that that's where I'd be focusing if I were eUnited.
Well, Cheerio is a pretty big factor, as you just pointed out, and we actually got to sit down with him and talk to him about this game to see what Space Station's thoughts are going up against eUnited.
All right, well, I am here with Cheerio, jungler for Space Station, and now that you guys have found that #1 spot, what are you guys doing to maintain that focus so that you can keep a lock on it and moving into the playoffs here in just a couple weeks?
I'm just going to focus on keeping the same level of consistency we've been, not too crazy, not go too crazy in the picks and draft phase, and just try to play normal Smite and win in teamfight phase.
Well, you guys say normal Smite, but Dardez is the only person playing this Hera pick here right now. He'll play whatever he wants. It's a unique thing the other team has to worry about against you guys. What's it like for you when he's playing that pick and you've got a jungle forward or in comms when he picks that up? Talk to you about that.
I just want to say normal Smite. I mean, like our normal Smite, not like everyone else's normal. I think we just like kind of see what the meta is and pick what's good into it. And Dardez has a certain playstyle that he wants to play, and we just accommodate for that with some of his picks.
Well, Cheerio, for you in particular, you have such a flexible playstyle. Sometimes you'll play Athena jungle, maybe not as much anymore, but we still give you that cred. And then sometimes you'll play something where you're like kind of the hyper carry. At what point do you all decide which Cheerio they need from you on any given game?
Like I would love to play these gods, but I think right now in this meta, Guardians like in jungle struggle, and tanks in general are not very good. So you kind of just have to adapt to what's actually good, which are like the assassins and mainly physical gods with the items that are in the game right now. They're all very good for like, I don't know, they just do too much. So you can't really play a tank or play guardian because you need to build those strong items. So I just have to adjust to that and make sure we're like not putting ourselves at a disadvantage just because I prefer a certain playstyle.
Well, I think that flexibility is a big part of why your team keeps seeing success. You guys are playing eUnited next, and some of the trick plays we saw from them when Genetics first joined aren't really working anymore for them. So knowing that, what kind of play style are you guys expecting from eUnited when you all play them?
To be honest, I'm expecting like a 180 shift from anything they've done. Like we're not looking too much into what they've done this whole season because obviously it hasn't been working, right? Like the last set against Sanguine was really, really bad. They lost to Obey 2-0. They got honestly stomped by Sanguine really hard. There's no way you lose a set like this or you have a week like that and you go into the next week with the same exact game plan. So I'm expecting them to like 180 switch it up. Like not really looking at their drafts that they've done. I'm expecting like new gods, more consistent stuff because they've been playing too many different stuff, which was our problem at the beginning of the season. I think they're going to lock themselves to like 2-3 gods right now and I don't think they'll do too crazy stuff right now. I think they'll just play normal, just to try to get some consistency back.
it could be hard to know exactly what you could be up against. Well, thank you, man, for taking some time. I know it's a little bit harder to get you in here, so I appreciate you talking to us, man, and good luck in your match.
Thank you.
Man, having to deal with a versatile roster such as SSG is going to be probably the monumental task here for eUnited to take on, because as was highlighted, you've got Dardez aggro playing pretty much anybody he wants. You get Raffer playing kind of anybody he wants, and Cheerio, who's able to bring anyone he would like into the jungle. Is there any specific place, you had mentioned trying to target Cheerio and Raffer, but is that really the key in, or is it just going to be so hard to win something like this in a draft? You have to focus on the play.
Yeah, obviously you have to execute when it comes down to playing as well, but I think that you want to take away the enabling gods for SSG. I think the Khepri is really something that you have to keep your eye on. I think you have to be ready for what Nika's going to play. He's really sticking to the same sort of meta gods, but he's just outplaying people on those gods. But you can expect Arthur, Yorm, things like that coming out of Nika. And so that's where I'd be looking, is trying to lock down what we know SSG is likely going to pick. If Hera's open, they're likely going to take it. If Yorm or Arthur are open, Nika's likely going to take it. Those are the picks that you can kind of lean on, and then make sure that you can keep Cheerio, who likes to bottom two as God, a little bit off balance in the bans.
And we all know that Dardez is Hera. Well, she walks over everybody, and I think only Dave actually likes it when she does that. Other than that, Aggro, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news, and I'll let you choose. Which one do you want to hear first?
Let's do bad news.
All right, so chat, Aggro, we don't have picks and bans for you today. There's just some tech issues that are going on, so we don't have, at least for Game 1 as of right now, we don't have the picks and bans to be able to show you. But the good news that comes alongside that is that you don't have to listen to us anymore. You don't even have to worry about us analyzing anything. We get to jump right into game right now to go to the casters and watch game number 1.
Yeah, but unfortunately I got more bad news for you, that it's me and Mifflin that you have to listen to now for the next however long game number 1 goes. It's Dolson and Mifflin on the call for eUnited up against SSG. Now, Mifflin, I think it's good to maybe zoom out and see where these teams have been. They obviously did a little bit of it on the desk. SSG, 6-game win streak. The last time they lost, though, was a 2-0 to eUnited. But I think Cheerio had a pretty good point in that interview where that was so long ago. I don't know if you can look back at the eUnited that we saw in week 4 or 5 or whatever that was and try to pull too much from the first time these two teams met.
Even considering how long ago it was, eUnited's been on a downward trend since then.
Right.
They've been really struggling. They've been having inconsistencies in just about every lane besides mid. You won't catch me slandering Hurrywind any day of the week, whereas SSG on the other side have only been trending up. So this should be a pretty hard-fought battle. It looks like eUnited are getting back to their old tricks, though, with that Yanis in mid.
Yeah, that's a good point. With the status of the pick bans prior to at least this game, good to just kind of run down what we see. The Hercules in the solo, Nike in the jungle for Scream. Scream pivotal in the 2-0 for eUnited earlier on this year. Might be pivotal in First Blood as Dardez connecting for some good damage. That, of course, means Discordia in the mid over there for SSG. Now, this Khepri in the support role, obviously something we've seen PK start to pick up on here, and it's starting to move its way elsewhere here in the SPL, obviously providing a good bit of utility.
I'm almost 100% sure that the Khepri pickup is good in of itself, but you have to take it away from Raffer. And if we had P's and B's, we could only assume that Geb was likely banned out, and the majority of the aggressive Guardians that we're normally seeing Raffer on were as well, which is why he has to fall down to this Jing Shen pick. Snoopy playing Heimdall, that's pretty interesting. Spicy new pick because off the comp ban list this week. But they give up Uller in exchange. That's going to be a pretty hard-fought battle. Once these supports rotate out, both lane opponents are going to have insane kill potential against each other. Could be a lot of fireworks over in the long lane.
And normally it's kind of lopsided one way or the other when the supports start to roam out, especially when it's an Uller that you're going up against. We saw decent success, I'd argue, yesterday, Mifflin, from that Heimdall. In Ghost wins pretty pivotal, I would argue, for Panda Cat up to that point. Maybe we're starting to see, and at least a few games of data points would dictate it, that Heimdall is starting to become one of the top, if not the top, priority hunters.
He's a very good pick. I'm not going to say that Heimdall was pivotal for Panda Cat in that set, because he really, game 3, my man was just allowed to chill out, AFK, while the rest of his team was kind of
That's the jungle
out.
speak, right?
Yeah, I'm talking to a jungler. You could talk to me about jungles, but Heimdall has so much safety, and I think that's really been the focus of the long lane, especially in Season 7. That's why we see Jingwei getting picked up so often. That's why we're seeing Hachiman all the time. It's because these gods are incredibly hard to gank. It makes you really not want to, as a jungler, to show up in the long lane. And Heimdall's got a little bit more under his belt. He's got the kill potential, CC immunity on his ultimate. He's got so many utility options to help out in team fights. This guy is incredibly versatile, and for my money, likely the most versatile hunter you can pick up.
And Snoopy, certainly some big shoes to fill there with the Heimdall after, granted, I think to your credit, not necessarily 100% game winning yesterday, but certainly had an impact. Small skirmish over the red buff here on the eUnited side of the map. Raffer will move in. Looks like maybe taken down by eUnited here, but the fight still rages on. Cheerio rooted down the Robin. Deep in the jungle here, the knockback is there, and Snoopy, he'll swing for first blood.
That's a rough one. The counter rotation for eUnited there was so good. Immediately, all 4 collapse onto the red buff, make sure that no bleeds allowed it to start. Cheerio doesn't have his ultimate available, uses the overhead kick a little bit aggressively, trying to confirm out the buff, and just gets picked off for it. That's a clean response. SSG getting a little bit overzealous in the early game, but it makes sense. You want this Robin to get involved early and heavy, so he can really leverage the fact that he's playing a pseudo-warrior. He wants to fight it out, but right now, losing your life this early on, especially against a Nike who's going to scale so well into the late game, that's got to be weighing on Cheerio's minds.
Yeah, quite literally the opposite impact from what they were hoping to find with that Robin. One kind of matchup, actually, now seeing variety on this Hercules, it's good to talk about. Nika has been massive for SSG in their last few wins. 6-game win streak, remember. Nika played a large role in a lot of those. He's going to be playing the Jormungandr here. Obviously, we've seen Jorms make big differences in a lot of these games. Haven't quite seen as much Hercules, though, Mifflin, over here in the solo lane.
Yeah, Hercules really does find his home in the support role. Having him in solo means that he can rotate out a lot earlier on than even other warriors can out of solo lane. He can get involved in the mid-fight from level 4 if he really chooses to. But in the lane itself, he's not going to fall down. He's got plenty of sustain in his kit, CC immunity in his ultimate, so he can play it out safely. And Hercules used to be a solo lane predominant god. He's not going to be able to do much against this Jormungandr. It's not really a 1v1 lane. I really think we have to keep our eyes on variety to see when he decides to rotate out, because he's definitely outscaling a Jormungandr for at least the first 12 levels or so.
Well, interestingly enough, Nika completely foregoing boots to start off the Jormungandr build. It's Breastplate of Valor. Might be able to focus in on that. Another red buff invade starting off here for SSG. Through space and time will fly its way through here from Hurrywind. The chase is on. It's Vote who's taken low in the backline. Scream has found some great damage. Genetics is there, but Scream is the one who finishes off the kill. SSG, they've gone searching for this invade, but it plays out the same way as the first one. It's a 2-kill swing. eUnited still on top.
Not completely the same. This time the boys in red do run away with the buff itself, but trading out 2 lives, yeah, eUnited's not pressed even a little bit. Yeah, you've lost out on the engagement. Spacestation should likely shift their focus, but now that they have the timer, the next buff invade could be a lot cleaner. It's just about that execution and the ability to out-rotate and leave the fight afterward. Even if they do get the buff cleanly, Hurrywind can chase you down with the ultimate, bringing his entire squad with him. That's a huge risk play to continue moving up on this red.
When you look where eUnited have ward coverage, and admittedly not knowing if they have sensed that little skirmish, placed down those wards or not, backside of the red buff, on the SSG side of the jungle as well. So eUnited have known when SSG have been moving in onto that side of the map, and now all 3 kills in this game affected by a red buff invade from SSG. So put fully behind. Cheerio, 1 level down, gold XP relatively even across the board. So maybe that's the saving grace here for SSG, that the generic farming outside of the misguided red buff invades rather have tended to be working for them.
If it were any other jungler besides Robin, I would wholly recommend to just give up on this red invade. United has been there every single time in numbers. You know that it's going to be a 4-on-4 fight. No matter what you bring, there's going to be at least 4 members of United there trying to defend that red buff. But because Cheerio is playing this early game bridge pick jungler in Robin, he has to continue putting the pressure on. He has to force uncomfortable situations, force United to respond to his aggression, and that's why we see him keep moving up. Losing that much health before the invade attempt starts is enough to make Cheerio think twice about it, but he has to continue putting the pressure on. Robin's a jungler that has a timer. He's got a short shelf life. The second he hits level 15, he's going to get outscaled by just about anyone.
Well, it is red buff number 3 now, or maybe 4 that is respawned. We'll see if it's invade number 3, and I think learning from previous ventures on that side of the map, SSG will elect not to move in and invade on that red buff side. One thing I was kind of mentioning just prior to that most recent skirmish was that Nika had picked up that Breastplate of Valor, so you talk about low kill potential on a Yorm, maybe even worse here. High kill potential, though, on Hurrywind. Has to use that through space and time, so he's able to escape cleanly from that engagement, but aggressive on the opposite side of the map. We've seen SSG invade in on eUnited here, and now it's Hurrywind who's going to try to strip away some farm on the other side.
Hurrywind's been doing a fantastic job as well, just rotating throughout the map, stealing away back camps whenever he can. He's farming up efficiently, but Genetics getting caught out in the jungle. He's going to lose all of his health, and he leaves his boy Snoopy high and dry. Purple buff's going to go the way of SSG.
Genetics does have the Khepri res if need be. They don't complete the purple buff. Scream is here to play as well. Vote taken low. Has to burn the beads on his retreat here. Looking for the disarm is Scream. Snoopy taken down as Dardes has rotated into this fight. Suddenly Scream, he's on his own in between 3 members of SSG. And Dardes will find the damage and grab the first kill of the game for Space Station.
I like it. SSG aggressed towards the purple, realized that, oh, hey guys, we've lost the last 3 fights we've taken in the enemy jungle. Let's start to back up. United doesn't really realize the shift is happening. They move up too far, and SSG is somehow able to artificially manufacture engagements around the enemy jungle where they're favored. It's 2 members of United at a time walking to the full 4 stack of SSG. That's clean play off of what was an attempted just straight-up disengage. United just moving up too far, biting off a little bit more that they can chew, and they lose the red buff on the tail end of it, they lose a purple buff, and they lose a life. SSG finally get a foothold on the invade.
Well, that's kind of the answer maybe to the unasked question of, well, the first 2 red buffs didn't go your way at all. I mean, you do get the second one, but you've lost 3 members of your team in the meantime. It's still that number up top that keeps shining out at me. It's 28,000 rather gold for SSG, 2.5k or maybe 1k ahead. You'd argue 10 minutes into this game, despite the kill advantage going over for eUnited, the just generic map pressure has been pushing against eUnited. Tier 1 tower in the solo lane, near going down. It's going to be another small gold spike for Space Station.
But the constant aggression from Space Station has already left Cherry a level down. Dardes has been able to free farm while Cherry moves throughout the enemy jungle, so he's established a level lead there off the back of a kill as well. But having your Robin fall behind, not getting any kills, he's not really getting too much success off the majority of his invades. He's going to get slowly outscaled even further. Scream's been able to rotate through his own jungle, pick up the majority of his buffs relatively uncontested. Nike passive not as strong as it used to be, but still can absolutely turn team fights in his favor.
Right, I suppose that's kind of the magnifying glass you have to zoom in on. There are leads some places on the map. Cheerio is not one of them. The attempted tower dive over onto Hurrywind will be pushed back. Apple connects over onto Scream. Dardes is low, but just not enough damage. The fade away from Hurrywind. No good. Genetics, he's used his ultimates elsewhere here, so Hurrywind will end up going down. Vote has joined the fray and will leap in to the tune of 1 kill. Suddenly, we're all equalized here, and SSG are going to pull that gold lead a little bit further.
They're going to get pushed into the tower as well, but the peel from Nika is fine. Rapper should make it out alive. SSG take a clean engagement there. Scream moves up way too far, trying to chase out that kill on the Dardes and loses his life in response. SSG says, oh, free pick. That's a free red buff as well.
Red buff goes down. The fighting continues. A variety will drop the hammer down onto Rapper, so maybe a touch overstay there from SSG. Gold Fury is up here, but maybe just Raffer being down isn't enough of an advantage there for eUnited to push it. So we're all said and done. Lots of swinging back and forth there. Raffer falls by the end of it, but I think those are fights that SSG are happy to come out ahead of.
Take a peek at those solo lane builds. Nika's been bullying Variety all game, and he's already got a level lead off of it, but he's also going to deal more damage to these engagements. Variety, instead electing to go movement speeds focus, more utility-esque build, he's going to be looking to displace the enemies. Nika's not going to just displace you, he's going to displace you straight into the Shadow Realm. He's working into the Void Stone, he's got some CDR online, he's going to be able to sit in these team fights for such a long time, and because he's already been winning the lane, that time phase where Variety could just outscale in his rotations, move throughout the map, and be more impactful has already passed. Nika's level 13. He's got the Aegis online. He's got damage coming up. He's going to be an absolute devastating factor for SSG once these Gold Fury fights start to happen, or once a Pyromancer gets grouped up on.
And he's always, Nika specifically, is always kind of that X factor with SSG. Again, if you look back to week 4 or 5 when these two teams first played, in game number 1, Nika ended 4-2-6 in a losing matchup, rotating out of that solo lane. Everyone else outside of Dardes was relatively negative for SSG. So it's always that point in the game, especially to your point, or where the build is at with this Jormungandr. Those big 5v5 rotation in team fights are going to make a big difference, and now you wonder what type of impact Variety will be looking to have in these big fights as well.
Man, the support is also starting to pull ahead on the side of SSG. He was 2 levels up, but Genetics gets it on the tail end of it, but they realized how low he is, XP and health, and they're going to move into the red buff.
Yeah, I don't have a red buff tracker here, but I think 90%, 80% of them have to have been invaded by SSG. Hurrywin will be able to pick this one up, purple buff down as well. This will be picked up by Genetics. So continuing that pressure, not dissuaded Mifflin by a few early kills there. SSG are going to continue to try to fight on this side of the map for good reason, though. I mean, they're 2K gold ahead, despite being 1 kill down, 1 tower in their lead, 5,000 experience at 15 minutes. You got to wonder if all of this left side map pressure maybe turns into a Gold Fury here in the next few minutes.
The map pressure is so big for SSG on this red buff that it's also dragging down eUnited's farm. Every single time, they're grouping up as 4 or 5 members trying to defend the buff. Even when SSG doesn't commit to invading, maybe they send 2 members just to hover around it. Now 4 members of eUnited have to stop their farm, back up, get ready for a team fight that might not even happen around this red. SSG are putting so much pressure on without even dedicating resources. It's been a fantastic farm. They've got the mental game there. Now United just continue playing as a response mechanism. They're not getting proactive. They're always worried about the invades that are coming through, and it's been manufactured wholly by SSG's continuous non-stop aggression.
And there are circumstances where, and actually maybe specifically yesterday, you and I were calling the PK win in kind of that backup, even out this game, just maintain until things start to spike into the late game is okay, but is this an eUnited team that needs to try to be, obviously you want to be winning early, but do you think this reactionary back off and then maybe re-engage later is the right mindset?
As long as the bleed doesn't get too out of control, eUnited right now only about 2,000-3,000 gold down. Ooh. Not that big a deal. Stealing Gold Fury though, yeah, that's big.
Scream says thank you very much, SSG, for that Gold Fury. Nika is here on the rotation. Hurrywin gets the kill down on the Raffer. Suddenly things are crumbling for SSG. Gold Fury stolen away, 2 members down. Chase still on. Nika over by the red buff will be rooted down by Genetics. Still has the res available on his side as well. But I think this is smart from eUnited. You've gotten 2 kills and a Gold Fury. Let's get out with the small lead we've taken.
Yeah, runaway should be the only thing on eUnited's mind right now, but Genetics is positioning so aggressive.
I feel like it's been Genetics in that position more times than not. And granted, you'd maybe expect a Khepri to be up there kind of poking and prodding on the front line, but how Genetics hasn't died yet up to this point is beyond me. He does have a res, and you can maybe thank the 006 slash line to that. But what a big turn here in this game, Mifflin. Remember, just moments before that, we're talking about a 2K gold lead, and we are right back to even about 17 minutes in.
Yeah, eUnited almost with 1,000 gold in the lead off the tail end of that. SSG set no one forward on that Gold Fury attempt to even attempt to zone out eUnited. Almost disrespectful, just thinking to themselves, whoa, we're in the lead. We've got a strong early game draft. No one's really going to want to look to fight us. eUnited just move up for free, steal it away for free. I mean, there was no huge resources committed. It was just Scream blinking in, pressing 2, and walking away with an objective. Spacestation kind of resting on their laurels a little bit, not showing proper respect, not setting up a defense. They didn't even have deep wards. United has just the freest and most easy time ever moving in and completely evening out the match.
It's got to be some of that confidence that the Nike in the jungle brings you, I suppose. I mean, think about what we've seen from Sino. Obviously, the name I think you have to bring up when talking about how this Nike in the jungle has made its way into the SPL. I mean, what's to be afraid of? When you have a massive slow in your ultimate, massive shielding, it opens the door up to just kind of walking in and attempting to steal away a Fury.
Yeah, essentially 2 health bars and then that added safety net of Genetics having Scarab's Blessing just to bring you back to life. I'm sure Scream's not worried about anything, and he shows it. I mean, he jumps in, he just goes straight up. Space Station were caught with their pants down truly, and now they have to return back to a state of farming. eUnited absolutely going to be the beneficiaries of it. We were talking about the gold lead earlier, but XP was really how SSG was able to differentiate themselves.
Right.
Now that everyone's back to farming, that neutral objective of Gold Fury's down, eUnited's going to absolutely be happy returning to lane and just closing up that level gap even further.
It's about a 2k XP lead, and you look at where most of it is in that solo lane. Maybe Nika slowly has carved his way out a 2-level lead, 1-level lead in the mid lane there as well, but a couple members of eUnited ahead of their counterparts. You look at Snoopy, who's a level ahead, and then in the jungle, Scream 2 above Cheerio. So where the gaps are wide for SSG, they're maybe wider than where eUnited have been able to pull. The focus of this map has started to move over towards this Pyromancer, but Snoopy, Cheerio left alone. A 3-level differential between these two, but there is a tower swinging away at Snoopy, and luckily the disengage is there. But you look at map pressure, you nearly have an open Phoenix in your base if you're SSG in the long lane about 20 minutes in.
That's going to be one way to just close out that gap, get that win condition going. That's what aggro always calls it. If you expose a singular Phoenix, that means any 5-on-5 engagement that goes cleanly can almost immediately result into a Titan dive or into a Phoenix getting sieged down, and then Fire Giant becomes so much easier. So I like what Snoopy's doing there. He moves up, he tries to take out that tier 2, create an avenue of success for his squad, but he has to use his teleport from so far away. That's going to be down for likely a full minute. If
Right.
SSG decide to, they can try and exploit him in that window, or they can group up around Pyro knowing that Snoopy's going to have no way to get in safely.
You bring up the teleport-esque ability, I suppose, of Snoopy. Variety with beads and blink here, so a slight teleport disadvantage, notably, as Nika has, of course, teleport over there on that Jormungandr. So the rotations are going to have to be calculated out, maybe a little bit heavier here from Variety. Of course, another point to be made around the left side Phoenix being open with Fury coming up here in 30 seconds, likely to see some small skirmish over this one, and this Fury might be the biggest in kind of tilting the scales of this game. An eventual Fire Giant will be booned for eUnited if they're eventually able to take down that left side Phoenix.
SSG should still be favored in this fight. They've already clawed back the gold lead ever, as minuscule as it is, about 300 in their favor, but the XP is still largely in favor of SSG, so if they don't take the aggressive positioning around this Oni Fury, I would be absolutely surprised.
Well, Cheerio is not here, off on the opposite side of the map. Is rotating in, though, likely the same distance away as Variety. Remember, previous Fury, the only one we've seen so far, Gold Fury taken away by Scream, and then 2 kills on the back end for eUnited were the big turn here in this match. You almost wonder now if you're SSG that makes you slightly more hesitant to start up a fight, despite how close this game is.
They've got to play it safe. They've shown one mistake so far in not sending someone to zone on to the Gold Fury, and they immediately lost their entire lead off the back of it. So they've got to take this engagement slow and smart.
Raffer is close by. Snoopy swinging away, half HP now on the Fury, but Scream has made his way into the back line. Sentinel of Zeus will lock down Dardes, and Hurrywind is there to launch through the final bit of damage. It's a double kill for the Giannis coming out of the mid lane. A disastrous Fury defense, if you even call it that, for SSG. 2 members down one more time. It's a triple kill for Hurrywind on the back end of a big fight, and eUnited are off to the races.
And Hurrywind wasn't playing that safe. He TP'd into the back line of SSG and said, "Stand in front of me. I don't care. I'll kill you." And he has that backline dive of Scream. He's got variety with him as well as these King Protection comp. That 3-man dive backed up with the damage of Yanis absolutely decimates SSG.
That'll crack open the mid lane Phoenix here, and maybe a rotation back towards that Oni Fury for eUnited. Relatively safe to do so. 3 members of SSG still down. This is going to massively spike that gold lead for eUnited. It's going to push probably over 3, maybe even closer to 4K once this Oni ends up going down. Yeah, close to 4K here. We're going to get another look at exactly what Hurrywind was able to do here in this fight. Mifflin, what are you seeing?
I'm looking at him diving in deep. This is zero respect. No one's looking at him. He's able to just go in. Sure, he takes the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel, but it doesn't matter. Beads still available. No kill potential from the follow-up. He didn't even have to Beads if he doesn't want to, and he just continues the chase. This unbridled aggression, this high mobility god in Yanis, if he's allowed to just free cast like that, he will absolutely decimate your team. If on SSG, the one person who can really keep up with him might be Cheerio, and you have to explode him before he's able to get through the first portal. Other than that, almost no one's going to have the mobility to keep up with Hurrywind. He can continue doing that. SSG's going to have to engage the fight onto him. That's the only way I can see to stop that free rotation, that free ability casting that we saw in the last fight.
Maybe a lot of this hangs on Dardez. I mean, you look at player damage, Nika far and away ahead, and we'll have to see how the damage swings after this little engagement. Nika locked down, has the World Serpent. A Strife will connect over onto Variety, and it'll just pull back SSG. Pyromancer is there. Cheerio over in the long lane. Good on Doug for spotting that one out. So no jungler for SSG. And I think realizing that, not a fight to take, they're going to back themselves off, and it's a Pyro for free over to eUnited.
Yeah, this bleed is starting to get out of control. Now nearly 5,000 gold in the lead. Most of the towers have already been eliminated on the side of SSG. eUnited has opened up this map, and it's not been the cheeky, funny business that we expect from them. Hurrywind hasn't been repositioning his squad for free objectives with his ultimate. Even Genetics hasn't really found a huge impact Scarab's Blessing just yet. They've just been playing these team fights cleanly and winning out on every single engagement post that red buff invade section, that arc of the game that Spacestation opened up in the early. Outside of that, eUnited have just been running with it. Those 3 early kills for Spacestation, that's all they got.
And I love that you bring up the Scarab's Blessing. I mean, Genetics 008, so 8 of the 9 kills, at least somewhat on his back. But you look at what PK did in their games yesterday, and it was the Scarab's Blessing time and time and time and time again, just slowing down their opponents, preventing any kills from being added to the board. I mean, we've seen some Scarab's Blessings in this game that have certainly helped out, but hasn't necessarily been maybe obnoxious just yet for SSG. But now you imagine one of those going on to Hurrywind, going on to Snoopy in one of these fights where you get a triple kill once and you're going to be able to stay alive maybe even one more time. Going to be difficult to deal with. It looks like eUnited, though, in the meantime, they're going to knock down Tier 1 tower over in the solo lane, not peeling back for Fire Giant just yet. Maybe get some wave control on your side and then move back for the big one.
I like what eUnited's doing. They send the front line so far forward knowing that Spacestation has no vision on Fire Giant, so it's constantly building that mental pressure. Spacestation has to wonder, are they pulling it? Is it pulled? I don't know. We can't walk past Variety. We can't walk past Genetics. What if they're just sitting around the corner? It's keeping Spacestation in this precarious situation where they have to hover around the Fire Giant, ever vigilant, because there's no way that they can go back and farm safely and just give up fire. They have to stay there. eUnited are the beneficiaries of that through the fight.
The washing machine spins around there for Rapper, but he's going to be locked in off to the side, unable to clean up the kill just yet. But hey, it's Genetics adding a 1 to the kill column now for the Khepri. SSG, though, still feeling confident here. Chase is on, but in the opposite direction, maybe, that you would expect. Limping away with some slightly low health bars. Really, it's only Genetics, but a clean kill and out here for eUnited.
I don't think I've seen Snoopy use his Bifrost to teleport less than an entire lane away. He is constantly putting it on such long cooldowns, and Spacestation hasn't been able to leverage any sort of aggression onto him. The same could be said everywhere across the map. That's why we're not seeing Scarab's Blessing used hugely on the carries. It's because eUnited have been taking fights that SSG just don't want any part of. They're not returning damage back. They're not going in on the engagement. The backline divers aren't doing any of that. Nika and Cheerio have been playing so far back into their own team, trying to just peel off the damage that's been coming at Vote, coming at Dardes, that they haven't been able to blow up the backline of eUnited a single time. That's why Snoopy's so confident just using these teleports across the map. Who cares if it's on a 90-second cooldown? No one's aggressing onto you.
It's been so difficult, and you know, Nika, again, now maybe back to that point where Nika top damage in the game by about 4k. Dardes has been doing a good job of poking, but just hasn't been easy enough. And if you want to focus in on the Jormungandr for the Jorm to make his way into that backline, because, I mean, you look at that build, Voidstone, a Gem of ISO, I mean, there's damage there where if Nika's able to get into the backline, hurry, Snoopy, they're going to melt pretty quick.
But it's not enough damage to do it on his own. And with the team at the deficit that they're at right now, he's going to be the only one back there. He's the only one that can survive diving it long enough for it to be impactful. Cheerio's going a full damage build. The rest of his team aren't tanky yet. If Nika does decide to dive, it's going to be a one-man show.
It's Primal Fury locked down by eUnited. Was Raffer close by, potentially for the steal, unable to find it. World Serpent from Nika. Rejoining the fray on the backside of the fight. Scream has caught the apple, but there's a big Scarab's Blessing from Genetics to pull one back. It's a rampaging Hurrywin who's locked down Dardes, a perfect target to start off this fight for eUnited. Vote taken low and Vote knocked down once more. This time it's Scream who benefits from the kill. Hurrywin missing from the fight as well as SSG have picked up a kill elsewhere. 3 grouped up members of Space Station. This is a big moment for Snoopy just to swing away and melt down some of those health bars, but just too healthy, just too quick maybe to fully get in on that retreat. Nika catches the final axe though. Cheerio does as well. It's the double kill for Snoopy, and this base might just crack open.
Raffer, no ultimate available. His relics are up. Shell was available that entire engagement, but it doesn't come through. But with 4 members dead for the next 20 seconds, eUnited can absolutely make this a Titan siege.
Genetics forward. Titan is the only thing being looked at here. They're just going to try to ignore Raffer, but that's a big body to try to weave that damage through. Watch out. Dardes is back up off of respawn, though. Can turn around this fight. Strife connects. That's some big damage over onto Snoopy. The apple connects onto him as well. The execute is down onto the Heimdall. A couple toss back here. SSG, they've mounted a defense, and they've kept themselves in the game.
The Titan out 50% health and the mid-Phoenix being eliminated, only getting 2 kills in response there. SSG won't be able to leverage that very much. They might be able to move in towards the Pyromancer or even the Fire Giant and try and make some sort of aggression happen, but they have to contend with the Fire Minion wave that's going to be constantly flooding their base. Any more damage that lands onto that Titan is going to be so scary for SSG. They can't let any minions move up, because if eUnited sees that it drops any lower, they can immediately just use the drop ship strategy from the Cianis, teleport their entire team into that base and run it down. Now, Fire Giant's the question on everyone's mind. SSG, the first ones on the scene, but what are they going to do about it? They're on a timer. They've got that mid-Phoenix coming back up, and 2 people spawning on the side of eUnited. They're going to have to burn this quick.
Yeah, they're going to start it, is what they're going to do about it, and SSG are on it. A couple members of eUnited collapsing in. 2 respawns just now from the dead members of eUnited. Raffer has taken so much poke damage. Hurrywin just starting to farm up, actually catching up to Dardes, who was a couple K ahead of him just prior to that previous fight. So it's Variety now that moves in. I mean, you like the call. Maybe it's something you can burn down quickly, but smart, I think, for SSG to back off.
They have to back off there. If eUnited even extends the fight, forces them to stick it, they're going to lose the minions.
Cheerio, you want your red buff, but you don't want to die for it. He has to leap his way out. That's an ultimate burn, but Variety, Scream both use their ultimates as well. The door has suddenly been opened for eUnited to pivot their attention over to this enhanced Fire Giant. Cheerio has to go back to base, though. So it's a pseudo 4v5, at least for the next few seconds. Might be able to burn it quicker than Cheerio's able to rejoin the fight. FG taken low, SSG in to try to steal, but eUnited, they're going to lock this one down. But look at the damage Dardes has been able to pour off over into eUnited. That's a Scarab's Blessing down onto Snoopy, but SSG have been able to delay it, and Dardes finishes off the kill. It's eUnited now on the retreat. Nika and that World Serpent looking for the final charge. 4 members still for eUnited with that FG buff, but you've lost it on Snoopy.
with the positioning that SSG had going into that Fire Giant defense, I thought they absolutely had the advantage on that engagement. They had a clear line in towards Hurrywind and Snoopy, left alone inside the pit, but Hurrywind drops the through space and time through the Fire Giant and slams a Vote in his chest for 80% of his health, effectively removing him from the entire engagement. That could have gone so much worse. Now eUnited have 4 members with Fire Giant. Mid Phoenix still down. A huge gold lead as well. That's clean play, and that's why we all say that Hurrywind is the best Yanis in the world. He's opening up the team fights. He's forcing people to back off of the objectives. He's diving deep on the enemy backline as a squishy mage. This guy's doing it all.
Is he the only Yanis in the world is maybe the follow-up question to that. Maybe the only one we've seen like really play it successfully here in the SPL. Sprinkled in, to be sure. Hurrywind did play Yanis, worth mentioning, the last time these two teams played in a Game 2 win. Hurrywind pulled out the Yanis then as well and is putting on a masterclass in game number 1 of this set, 6, 2, and 5 on the Yanis. But the space that's been created for him to operate and then move into, I don't think can be understated between Genetics, Variety, Scream. I mean, just opening those doors has been so successful. Fury now up, though, Mifflin, and I'm not sure SSG will want to move forward and try to contest.
It's not worth contesting. Oni Fury is going to be really nice for United. It's just to split up the map. They don't have to worry about pushing up waves themselves, as their wave will just go ahead and barrel down towards the towers, the Phoenixes themselves. But SSG's not worried about it. The gold lead is starting to slowly fizzle out. It doesn't really matter 33 minutes into the game. And now all the builds are starting to quickly approach being done for both teams. Now it's a matter of SSG has to pick the fight. They have to defend properly. They can't have anyone getting picked out or poked before the engagement. So that's how the last 4 or 5 fights have lost for SSG. Cheerio gets picked and poked out around the red buff. We see that Rapper loses the majority of his health before a Fire Giant siege starts. They have to group up, play safe, maintain their health bars, and spearhead an engagement. Dive onto Hurrywind, find the damage, at least force them back, and maintain your base.
Well, now you look at the ensuing fight. All relics available for SSG, all relics available for eUnited as well. It's only that bubble around Raffer that was popped a moment ago, so one bit of CC will be able to move its way and connect in onto him. It's a 3-2 split here. Scream, Variety are in the mid lane. Nika, Cheerio there to match him as well. Dardes floating back and forth. Will need to poke out as much damage as possible. Nika still hurts. He has that Soul Reaver online, the Jormungandr now, so you're trying to siege into him. He's going to be able to poke out some good damage. United are going to backpedal, though, for the moment. Mifflin, no dive just yet.
They're probably waiting on that right lane to push itself up. That's why we're starting to see Scream rotate over there. They're going for what looks to be a 3-1-1 split or a 3-2. Anything that could just split up the enemy team and make sure that SSG can't defend properly. Dardes is the only one that has great siege defense, so if they can just distract and split up SSG's roster, or snipe Cheerio at his own spawn, Hurrywind, that's illegal. You're not allowed to do that. You just won the siege. Congratulations.
Hurrywind's downtown and launches through space and time in Cheerio, left wondering what the hell just happened. That's an apple over onto Variety, but Genetics will pull him back thanks to the Scarab's blessing. It's the #1 team in the league on a 6-win streak, and eUnited are taking the game to him 35 minutes in. Mid lane, left lane, Phoenix both down, and for the moment, that's all eUnited will want.
Fire Giant falls off at the perfect timing after stripping away those 2 Phoenixes. They've got 1 minute left on the respawn. Of course, they could back up, spend the gold they just got, laugh to themselves at Cheerio that's just falling to just about nothing in his own spawn. That's got to be a tear jerker for the SSG boys. But now Fire Giant is on everyone's mind. No one's going to contest it. United should absolutely be able to take it for free. If SSG moves up too far, those waves are going to be flooding into their base. If United just elongates the fight, doesn't even commit towards the Fire Giant, SSG is going to have to continue showing face and likely lose to a Winion push. They can't show up on this Fire Giant. They have to group up, get these Phoenixes back online, and pray that eUnited doesn't have any way into their fountain.
Well, eUnited have plenty of damage to forge their way into the fountain here, so not immediately pivoting straight towards that FG. Just now, back off of respawn for United to start to look towards. It's now Vote that's a bit caught out here. This could be the opening that eUnited need to feel confident in just kind of walking into the base. Mifflin's already called it. It is a stun down over onto Scream. He has leapt, he has stunned, while the lead back off of cooldown, but now you've got to worry about Genetics on the chase. Plenty quick, though, is this Ullr. Has the move speed stim, misses that one. Hurrywin here to play is going to chunk down the damage. Mifflin, that's a big difference maker. A minute left on Vote's respawn.
With a full minute down, eUnited can decide to just bypass Fire Giant, start shoving these waves in, and take the engagement, try and win with a numbers advantage. Cheerio, what are you doing up here, bud? If you get spotted out, and you certainly have been, Hurrywin can bring his whole team to you. Yeah, these guys are getting confused on the map. Maybe Cheerio just doesn't realize this is eUnited's jungle?
Yeah, it's the United's map, I think, at the moment. Hurrywin on one side picks Vote, and now will move over and help pick out Cheerio as well. It's Nika, the most recent, to try to take on this eUnited roster, but World Serpent will just kind of move away from that one. Wait, Scream is in the base soloing. Dardes now. Rapper is in the back, though. This might just be the opening. eUnited are going to move their way, and Nika, Rapper, the only two left on defense. Scream has taken half HP worth of damage in the meantime. I don't know if you have enough damage to defend this one here, SSG. eUnited are going to turn their focus down onto the Titan, and eUnited are going to take game number 1 in 37.5 minutes.
Man, SSG post 30 minutes, these guys folded like a lawn chair. They crumbled like a cake. They lost all composure. Vote almost just inting in the long lane, and then Cheerio says, oh, I guess we're not trying anymore, and does the exact same around that Fire Giant.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Stream souls out Dardes on his own Titan. I mean, they got dismantled across the map.
Yeah, that's brutal, especially, again, you kind of see, I mean, I hate to call it anticlimactic because it's awesome. Screams in the base, finds a solo, finds the kill, but it's just catch out in the long lane, catch out in the jungle, and eUnited just kind of walk forward. This is a struggling team against the exact opposite in SSG, and suddenly eUnited, they're on set point after game number 1, but Gormizer and Finch will help break it down.
Well, this was a fun one. The last time we got to see them play, it was a 2-0 for eUnited, and so far eUnited are looking to try and bring that one back and, well, maybe end 2 streaks along with it. Their losing streak and potentially SSG's winning streak as far as sets go. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know where to focus on if I want to look at the Yanis, the fact that we had a Hercules in the solo lane, the fact that Heimdall was available again aggro. I mean, there was just so much that had my eyes opened coming into this game. What was your mind on?
I mean, the first thing you got to talk about is obviously Hurrywin on the Giannis. I mean, This guy, I know Chad is, Giannis is bad, forehead, all this kind of stuff, but yeah, Giannis is bad. It's that Hurrywin is really, 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 really good at this character, and it's just such a different play style that you have to play against, especially one who's as comfortable as Hurrywin is on this pick. I loved the takeaway of this Khepri. I thought Genetics had one of his best games of the year. It just in mechanical output for his team. But when you have a Giannis who's doing things like this, I mean, how do you combat against it? It's what makes Giannis so difficult to play and to play against. It's that a lot of team fights are pretty binary. Did my Giannis one-shot someone on the backline with their snipe? If they did, then we're going to feel like we won this fight pretty easily. If they didn't, our mid lane just got a lot less viable. It wasn't just that snipe, man. Hurrywin was doing it over and over and over again in this game. Scream had a much better game on this Nike, bouncing back from probably his worst SPL game he's ever had last week. I think that everyone looked so much more comfortable here on eUnited. Genetics contributed in a meaningful way. Scream was an impact player. Snoopy looked good on this Heimdall. And then you give it up to Hurrywin's Giannis, he's going to deliver. So I think that eUnited came away with a really strong draft and then executed on it.
It's just so weird, because like, the first thing I wrote down for the game was, hey, Hurrywin's on his signature Yanis. The last thing I wrote was eUnited's game plan. Just win through Hurrywin, because it seems to work out pretty well for him. And you have Scream stealing a Gold Fury in that, and that feels like a footnote compared to what we really got to see throughout all of that game. And it's just interesting to look at. You know, the Heimdall comes up in the conversation. He's, been released back into the wild for this week, taken away from that ban since some of the fixes came through. And, while we're looking at that, that's something that has maybe been big. Morgan also going to be unbanned coming into this week. And in game 1, the last time these two teams played, that's something Hurry picked up. I mean, is there maybe some merit to him going back to that?
I think so. I think that if this is a team that you think struggles to lock you down, and especially if Cheerio is going to pick something like Ravin that just doesn't really have the burst damage necessary to take you down instantly on Giannis, I think that, it's something that you either go back to or you play around at getting banned by SSG, because I think it has been that impactful here for Heroin, and I think it speaks volumes that he's 2-0 against SSG in particular on this pick.
Well, I know that the last couple of times they played, I keep referencing it, but it is worth mentioning that SSG was a completely different team, because the first game they picked Cupid and Isis. That's not the same members that are trying to play in this today. But, I mean, it's do or die. If you're looking at draft, if you're looking at changes for SSG to make going into Game 2, what exactly is your mind on and trying to control? Is it all on Hurry?
Yeah, I think that you have to either pick something or ban away this Giannis, or pick around it that with picks in the jungle in particular that can burst it down before you end up getting over that wall. I mean, Robin has pretty good burst damage, but it just takes a little bit to get online, and by that time, Heroin's got so much CDR that it's really hard to get there. And the Robin isn't great at knocking Heimdall out of the crystals. A lot of times, Snoopy was placing his crystals too far and had to wait a long time to get them. You want to have CC there to disrupt that displacement, to knock him out of the crystal, to reset that teleport timer. I think those are the things I'd be looking for here for SSG. And if you can get Kepri for Raffer, you take it, basically no matter what.
Yeah. Well, chat, unfortunately, we are still trying to get picks and bans working, but not unfortunately, we do still have the game ready for you. So we're going to be able to jump down to the casters and see if eUnited can take it or if SSG can defend.
Hey, game number 1 was so great. Let's move into game number 2 ASAP. Mifflin already. Baba Yaga makes her way into the SPL for the first time here. And it's Hurrywin now with another great opportunity to play a less than conventional mid laner and hope to find a win.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Yanis, and I want to go into this point. I think that Yanis' strengths lie in his unconventional playstyle. Normally, when you're playing against mages, you want to dive them in the backline. Yanis is never going to be in his own backline. He's always diving with his warriors. So maybe that's why we're starting to see a disparity, as SSG doesn't really know how to deal with that. Baba Yaga going to do a lot of the same. She's a very aggressive mage, and meta be damned if Hurrywin's in the game. He's going to play whatever he wants. He's going to be able to find long-range damage. He's going to have some unconfirmable random RNG CC. Could be a cripple, could be a slow, could be a silence, who knows. But if Hurrywin's going to play it, I trust him to play it at the top level.
All right, so what are expectations here? I mean, this is obviously a god that, even to viewers and players at home, only recently has been added to this game. What's some of the nuance maybe she brings? I mean, high damage potential obviously is going to be there with most mages, but her as well specifically. What do you look for Hurrywin to be able to do here in this game as the Baba Yaga?
Baba Yaga is one of the more aggressive-minded mages in the game. She wants to get up close, deal her damage as quickly as possible, get that burst, then leverage the damage immunity or damage mitigation from the ultimate or from her jump to just continue sit in that backline, force people to look at you. And if Hurrywin's doing that, that's exactly his playstyle. Should fit well. I'll say it now. I don't think Baba Yaga's a good character, but I'm looking forward to Hurrywin proving me wrong.
Yeah, some variability, of course, with that first ability. In the meantime, though, I mean, we had to talk about Baba Yaga. You have to do it. There's been action all over the map, though. Since then, some aggression here in the long lane. Burnt not only the beads for Vote, but the shell from Raffer as well. So Genetics back on this Kepri, and Snoopy back on the Heimdall are already exerting pressure on this side of the map. There was a level 1 or level 2 gank from... I believe it was Cheerio and Nika that tried to combine over onto Variety, who had to dash away and make his way out alive. So we have seen some pressure all over the map already, not to be unexpected, I suppose, after what we saw in game number 1. Scream just searching, actually gets stopped by Raffer. Not sure if that plays a big role here. But Mifflin, we've already seen fireworks kind of all across the map. Variety taken down low and has to fight beneath the tower.
Dude, I love this decision-making from Cheerio. Immediately, we see Scream get spotted out at the enemy purple buff, so Cherry says, well, he's not going to be here to defend his speed. Let me go ahead and sneak that away, and he should be able to run away for free, leveraging that additional movement speed that he obviously gets from taking away Scream's buff. That's such a smart response from SSG, because they know they're not going to win the fight in the long lane. They don't want to take a fight because all of their relics are down. Raffer and Vote don't have their defensive relics online. No one wants to rotate over and fight a losing battle. Instead, SSG split up the map and start farming up. Clean play. I like it. Keep that up. Cheerio's looking to get involved early on, though. He's playing this Robin. He wants to look for fights. So the second he hits 5, I imagine we see some more sparks fly in this long lane.
Right, and remember back to game 1, that's exactly what we saw, where though 2 of the 3, maybe you argue, didn't work out, really gave eUnited a foothold in the early game. SSG moved in, invaded the red buff, kind of on cooldown there to start things off. Seems like a similar composition, of course, as you point out. I think hinging around this Robin, you have Dardes who will be able to rotate through, find some good damage. A comp for SSG that might look to do some of the same.
Their play style is largely the same, but the same can be said of United. Their draft is the exact same, barring that mid laner. It will be a little bit easier to focus out a Baba Yaga than it would be a late game Yanis. She's not going to have that same degree of mobility, that same degree of utility to move throughout the map. She's going to be much easier to lock down, especially for a Robin. If her jump ever goes down, that's free root. You ult after her, you find the damage there. So I imagine that Cheerio is going to be at least 3 times as impactful as he was last game, which isn't saying much. He effectively got removed early on.
Yeah, heavily mitigated there. I think Scream as well in game number 1, if we want to maintain focus on the junglers here. I mean, it wasn't this standout, blow you out of the water slash line. I mean, Hurrywin doing most of the killing. Snoopy as well got in on the action. But this Nike jungle, I think, continues to surprise some people, and you know, maybe others not after what we've seen other junglers be able to do here. But with talking about Hurrywin and what he was able to do in game number 1, I think you have to be able to mention what the Hercules, the Nike, and the Khepri were able to open up the space for Hurrywin and Snoopy to operate, and you've got the same here in game 2.
And Variety got off to such a rough start in game 1. He wasn't able to rotate early. He got outscaled by Jormungandr. This game, so far, he's doing a lot better. He's maintaining a level equity with his lane partner. Nika hasn't been able to rotate through and create huge space for SSG in the early. Instead, Variety's been able to keep him locked in that lane, and now this blue buff getting looked at by SSG. Cheerio's there. Scream's low mana. This might be a good fight.
There won't be a knockback onto Cheerio. Variety taking down Sentinel of Zeus just to slow down a little bit. Nika, the freest execute of his career, and the second charge will be used to dash out, but watch out, the cavalry's here for eUnited. Pluck back onto Cheerio. Rapper rotating in on the backside of this fight. Dharmic Pillars drape over the battleground. Scream's gonna have to walk through it, but he just uses it to execute himself and pull himself back over to Genetics. So the Scarab's Blessing works out a touch this time, but just delays the inevitable. It's a 2-for-1 swing there, big, maybe 3-for-1 swing instead, and SSG come out ahead.
I think that's a net 2-for-2, but SSG do get to invade that buff off the tail end. That was a sloppy engagement from both sides. SSG overstay a little bit on that blue buff, lose out one of their lives because the rotation from eUnited has Genetics coming through, has Hurrywin coming through, and then United overstay a little bit too long, and we see Raffer rotate in and completely change the pace of that fight with the Dharmic Pillars with the fantastic silence and lockdown CC. Both squads doing absolutely fine here, but SSG off to a fast start, a lot faster than last game as well. Nearly 2,000 gold in the lead, 6 minutes in, and this aggression is only going to continue to roll out. That's what you picked this Robin jungle for. That's why you have a kill potential god like Achilles in solo. Anywhere that this Cheerio decides to rotate should have kill potential because of the lanes drafted by SSG.
Right, and that's what it looked like SSG were trying to do in game 1. We're able to maybe somewhat successfully do, but ultimately United is able to mitigate a lot of that pressure. This time, though, completely different story. Cheerio off to a roaring start, but Nika's really the big beneficiary here in Mifflin. Variety a level down. Nika 2-0-1 on an Achilles, especially with what we've seen from Nika up to this point, and with the interaction with Scarab's Blessing. Brutal start for United, given the circumstances.
This is similar to how Game 1 was for United. Nika pulls ahead early, Variety falls behind. We see the junglers starting to build disparity there as well. Scream already a level up.
Uh-oh.
But Snoopy, getting his teleport force that far, Vote knows that that's down for 40 seconds. He watched it, looked him dead in his eyes as he did it, so he can continue looking for more aggression. By the time Huyi's ultimate's back up, maybe the teleport comes back for Snoopy, but until then, there's so much kill potential against this Heimdall.
Snoopy is able to hang around, nearly steps forward into one of those ricochets, but has the wherewithal to back himself off. I mean, half health underneath your tier 1 tower. Not super bright, but Cheerio is going to move his way back over to this blue buff side, plug down some damage onto Variety, but United smart enough to pre-rotate over here. Raffer's going to drop down those Dharmic Pillars, Genetics silenced in on through. Not much damage from the Ganesh ultimate here, and SSG are just going to back themselves off. Maybe a blue buff in their back pocket. Was downed by eUnited, so Variety's going to be able to back up and take the blue.
but they lose out on the back camps. SSG trading out nothing there in terms of ultimate outside of Dharmic Pillars. That's a net win. They get the back camps, they force a huge rotation from United, so they're not farming. Anytime that SSG can control the movement of United, force them into rotating and responding to something, means that they're not spending that time farming, and this gold gap is only going to continue to grow, especially considering that SSG was able to strip away just a little bit of farm there through the back camps. United are going to be feeling that going forward. Scream's still able to maintain his XP deficit because Cheerio's been, in large part, just dedicating the majority of his time to ganking, to looking for these invades, to keeping his boy Nika ahead. With that huge focus on playing a facilitator role through this Raven, he's going to continually start to fall behind. But right now, he's got the first lead of the game, one level up.
Yeah, but about 1,000 gold, 5,700 gold for Nika in his net worth column, 4,800 for Variety. So be fair, I suppose, call it 900. I mean, of the 2,000 gold differential, 1,000 of it, Mifflin, is here in the solo lane, and maybe that perfectly explains why we've seen SSG continue to invade this blue buff side this time here in this game, rather than trying to force fights around the red buff on the opposite side of the map.
Absolutely play around your lead. If Nika's huge, you want him in every single engagement that you can get him in. You're right to point it out. That's why SSG's moving in towards this blue buff. They want to keep forcing fights on the side of the map where they're favored.
Watch out, Raffer. Hurrywin will pop the ultimate, plug down some good damage here. Scream, though, finishes it off. That's second kill of the game now for eUnited. Chase potentially still on, but instead eUnited are going to back off. Raffer just a bit overextended there in the mid lane. Maybe don't know how far Scream away is from you, so the collapse is complete. Snoopy drops down the Bifrost, uses it aggressively here. Vote's going to try to turn around the damage. Snoopy's got some support, though, and it's Genetics who rotates in, and suddenly the kills are all tied up.
Man, that was a sick play from Snoopy. Almost as sick as that double pull punch by Variety, but it looks like SSG do get away with that blue buff invade yet again, which is surprising considering to start off that engagement, Raffer gets picked out. eUnited should have had the rotation in there to win out on that engagement. Instead, they send Genetics over to Duo to set up for a free kill.
Well, really for the first time this game, it's Cheerio that is being pushed out of the SSG side of the map. Nika is here to try to defend his blue buff, but Variety was able to pick it up. How much have you spent, though, to try to stick around? The stun is now down. Scream exiting this fight as well. SSG kind of a slow rotation here, so I don't imagine much more of a fight will continue. So a small pullback, I suppose, as Variety's able to take that blue.
And they closed that gold gap to just above 1,000 now, which is relatively nothing. 11 minutes in, 1,000 gold split between 5 members, with the majority of it landing on your solo laner. eUnited's not too worried about it. Nika's not going to be able to get involved very easily around a gold fury fight, so SSG can't really move up over there either. Yeah, eUnited's fine. So far, it's been a very quiet game out of Hurrywin. Still really excited to see what he's going to be able to do on this Baba Yaga. Book of Thoth now online as well. He's going to get those additional stacks from the passive. He's getting off to a good start with no aggression from SSG.
Well, a quick pause before we're able to move back into the action here. Is this the type of game, though? I mean, for those kind of unfamiliar, we've touched on Baba Yaga, obviously. Is this the type of mid laner, similarly like maybe to a Merlin that you see on the opposite side for SSG, that is just going to just scale and hit heavily into that late game the longer this one goes on?
You know, I am not the brightest man on the planet, and I've not seen enough Baba Yaga to tell you truly what she's going to be able to do in that late game competitive sense. I imagine she's going to have similar damage output, but it's going to be so contingent on RNG that if he wants to match consistently what Merlin's doing, he's going to have to go a much more expensive build. I'm thinking Ratatahooties, Sphere of Desolation, Soul Reaver. He wants to get items that are going to be able to elevate him even when he gets low rolls on his potion. He could just get 5 slow stacks and deal just about no damage, so he's gonna have to do just a little bit more.
You know, maybe it's a touch of a non-question. Mages are always gonna scale well into that late game depending on where those power items go. It's been Raffer really on the front lines here trying to open up these fights for SSG, and on the flip side, Genetics as well, I think had a great game in game number 1 on this Khepri. And then I think it's important to touch on. We had a conversation about how maybe the Scarab's blessings haven't been this big, obnoxious factor in game number 1 against SSG, but I suppose that's the beauty of a Khepri, is you provide a lot of utility outside of that. The fighting over the blue buff, though, that'll continue here. on the eUnited side of the map. Nika body blocked off to the side, has a charge of the execute if need be. Unable to be body blocked there by Scream, and it looks like maybe the Achilles is going to get out before Variety blinks through. Then knocks them down. eUnited have pulled back a kill here. Gold lead still against them, but kill lead, well, it's certainly in their favor.
SSG's doing a really good job of farming the map. They're not always getting away with these invades. United have been able to pull back some kills, but the gold lead continues to grow. Between these small engagements that United wins, it grows back. It was about a 200 gold after that last invade attempt gets stuffed. Snoopy, be careful, bud!
All right. I thought Vote was about to jump in, and maybe good that he didn't, as Hurrywind and Genetics have rotated their way over to this purple buff side, but Snoopy had to go back, so this is, for the moment, a 3 versus 2 fight until that Heimdall is able to make his way back in. Purple buff. Can't quite see who it was ended up being dropped down by, but there was still some aggression there from SSG. Smart moments to realize they had a small advantage.
They still have the gold lead. XP's kind of largely in favor of SSG as well, but they haven't grouped up. They haven't tried to force an engagement to leverage the lead on all of their members. We see that they continually try and invade around that blue buff, but eUnited are privy to that. You've attempted it 4 times. Of course they're going to have the numbers there to defend against it. SSG hasn't made an attempt towards a neutral objective. They haven't even tried on the other side of the map towards red buff. They've been largely leaving Vote alone against Snoopy. Vote's winning that engagement with some help. He can likely pick up a kill. SSG instead just continually putting pressure on that solo side of the map. They're putting all their eggs in the basket that is Nika, and Nika hasn't rotated out once to spread his wealth. SSG are establishing a lead, but it's starting to stagnate. United, they're fine with that. They're getting Hurrywind free farm. Genetics is doing just fine with a level lead himself. Snoopy's getting bullied a little bit, but he's going to scale just fine in the late game and get those stacks online through the Transcendence. SSG hasn't done enough to push this lead.
And it's worth mentioning, just on a small cycle back, that it was SSG who were able to drop down that purple buff. Snoopy didn't rotate over to get it. Will look for the ultimate here, but Vote! My god, he evaporates Snoopy on the 1v1 attempt here in the long lane. I'm not sure what he's thinking there. Beads used by Vote at the perfect time to shrug off all of that CC. And that's a solo kill picked up in the long lane, and now Variety over here, invaded in on the United side of the jungle. Dharmic Pillars just serves as a roadblock as the Hercules has to turn tail. Nika finds the execute. There's kills happening all over the map here. Mifflin still fighting now. Over by the Gold Furious. The route down onto Vote, who uses the Aegis. Hurrywind takes to the ultimate. Trying to connect with a few of those shots. Grabs the most important one, and that's the final one, but have you overstayed? Are you too deep in the backline now? And yes, you are. SSG pull back a couple of kills. eUnited, they end up finding one.
I believe that's a net 2-2 for both teams. I wonder what Snoopy's plan was there. He knows that the beads were available for Vote. If he knows it's going to get beads out, no way Vote just goes to Niflheim of his own volition. And from there, Snoopy's just losing the fight. He's standing inside a Raining Suns from the Hu Yi. He's got to worry about the stun coming through afterward that just immediately eviscerates his entire health bar. Maybe just a little bit of frustration for how the lane's going. Snoopy just making a bit of a weird play.
Well, SSG start and finish the Gold Fury. No steal this time. Potentially a chase, though. Scream will leap over the wall. No Sentinel of Zeus, though, to really lock down the backline for SSG, and that'll be a red buff invade and nothing else, and United are going to move their way out. But the gold lead is now inflated to right around that 4K mark, and it's not just on Nika here at this point. Remember, the 1.2K that we've seen up to this point were largely on that solo laner. Not anymore. That's pretty evenly spread out. Dharmic Pillars, though, back off of cooldown onto Genetics. Sunbreaker, he stands still. He realizes his fate, and now Vote has found a couple of kills in a couple of minutes.
Vote's having an absolute showing in this long lane. He's been dominant in the 1v1. Anytime someone rotates over, he always finds a kill. And so far, United hasn't responded to that aggression. They haven't sent a jungler over to peel off the pressure of Snoopy. SSG largely hasn't done that either. They're just leaving these guys to have this manly 1v1 brawl up until this 2-on-2 engagement where Genetics falls for free. If Vote's allowed to sit over here and free farm, he's going to get that Rage online incredibly quickly. He's going to get the additional crit, maybe a Poison Star or a Wind Demon, and he's going to scale very hard into the late game. Right now, Snoopy has no crit in his build. He could decide to go towards a Tank Buster, just considering how much backline dive SSG has, but he's getting outscaled. He's already losing the 1v1, and if he does decide to go into a Tank Buster build, he's going to lose that 1v1 even harder.
It's Warlock Staff, interestingly enough, picked up here for Hurrywin. So, weird God pick, maybe weird item build there in the middle lane, Myth.
It makes sense. It meshes well with the passive. It really gels out. Normally you don't go double stack because that power spike's going to come way too late. But with the passive in the house giving you stacks on all of your items as it comes up, he can build as many stacking items as he wants and can reliably find them in a timely manner.
I wondered if there would be a fight to spring out of that one, but it's just the red buff dropped here by SSG. My goodness, look at the ward coverage that Spacestation have over on this red buff side. The focus has somewhat shifted away from that blue buff invade. Now maybe a little bit more focused on invading the red buff. Unsuccessful here as Hurrywin is able to cycle back for it. But all of the back entrances, except between Tier 1, Tier 2 tower in the mid lane, are covered by wards here for SSG. No Fury, though, up at the moment. But maybe that gives you a shift in mindset now, where SSG were really hammering home these blue buff invades to start off this game. Maybe the door has now opened to start fighting around the reds.
SSG has established a lead in every single role. 1, 2 levels across the board. They can take a fight anywhere on the map. Nearly 5,000 gold in the lead. If SSG decide to, they can group up, siege out this mid tower, go to Pyromancer on the tail end of it. And if eUnited try and move up into the aggression that SSG has, they're going to have to contend with more aggressive wards. They're going to have to contend with the defensive positioning that SSG will likely have on these objectives. They can force fights across the map, and eUnited have decent ways to deal with aggression in that Genetics can find a Scarab Blessing, Scream can slow out for their squad, but the engagement factor, if Variety blinks in, finds a punch, if Scream finds a multi-man knockup, right now eUnited's damage output is too low for it to really matter. SSG could just continue holding down that W key, finding kills, finding damage in the backline, and just keep steamrolling. This lead is so absolutely dominating.
Yeah, between 4 and 6k now, and potentially so dominating that Fire Giant is the call for Space Station. Look at Scream way in the backline, though. Could rotate through, maybe opening the door for a big Sentinel of Zeus, but all eyes would be on him. And right now it's Dardas and Rafford. We're going to try to close that gap. Split engagements here as a slight bit of poking goes over towards Vote. Scream is able to cycle his way all the way out and around. I guess you admire the poking and prodding that SSG are going to do there. If eUnited don't respond, you get yourself a Fire Giant.
eUnited do a good job of splitting up the map. Having Scream in mid makes SSG think twice about just going for the objective, and he pulls out the Heavenly Agility. Snoopy loses his Aegis, Cheerio is ult.
He just shifts to the side, and that's enough here. Dharmic Pillars royally connects onto Cheerio. Oh, the last tick of damage from Snoopy as he rotates through. That's going to put down the Robin here. It's looking like Snoopy is dead to rights, but he flips the script here. Not Cheerio seen in grayscale for the next 40 seconds. Unfortunate there. It looks like SSG have the opening, and there's just enough utility to keep Snoopy alive.
With the Oni Fury respawning in the next 15 seconds, there's going to be 15 seconds where Cheerio isn't alive and eUnited can start plucking away at that neutral objective. That's one way in to close up this gold gap, get some map pressure back, and find a way to farm it out. eUnited, this is the first fight they've been favored in the last 10 minutes.
It's because Cheerio is not a part of it, at least not for the next 20 or so seconds. 10 on the respawn, maybe 5 to 10 on his walk back. There's a speed buff if he chooses to collect it, but there might be more pressing issues with the Oni Fury started up here. Nika, Raffer, Darda's Vote, all present. Scream backlined here. Big double stun, though, from Variety. He's locked down Raffer, who goes down at the hands of Snoopy. It's the up-down from Scream, and it's the grayscale one more time, as Dardas is now seen in black and white. A 2-kill swing here for eUnited. The dash right back through. Nika trying to retreat here, might be able to do so. That's the route down, but the knock-up follow-up from Variety isn't quite there. Now the call Mifflin might be Oni.
But SSG knows about it. They've got the Oracle Vision online, but with only 3 members up and one of them around half health, I can't imagine they feel confident moving in, so they just have to accept this loss. What was a crippling 6,000 gold lead, now cut down to 3.
And I think if you look at the map state here as well, there's a Tier 1 tower in the short lane, a brisk wind knocks it over, and a Tier 1 tower in the long lane. Also very close to going down. So while it is a 3k gold lead, which is big at this level of play, there are still the resources on the map for eUnited to be able to shrink this one down. And I loved, I think, what I saw there from eUnited. The aggressive dive in. They realized Cheerio's not going to be a part of this fight. Scream, Variety, pin down a few. It's a great team fight from eUnited.
They're playing it incredibly well. SSG do a decent job of stalling out the engagement around gold. They weren't truly committing, and eUnited didn't actually pull it, so they didn't have to overcommit to the defense. But the second that Cheerio spawns, we see that SSG just take one step too many forward, and eUnited jump at the chance, get 2 free kills. Cheerio wasn't even allowed to show up in that engagement before they had already lost it. Gold Fury swings the way of eUnited. Now 3,000 gold down, but still much better positioning than they were beforehand. And 23 minutes in, 3,000 gold, that's pretty low diff. There's not much there that SSG can rely on to swing these fights in their favor. I would even harken to say that this is an even game.
Well, XP-wise, a lot of the differential is going to be on Raffer now, 2 levels ahead, but Variety is somehow going to reach level 20 before Nika after what we saw here. In this early game, Vote, being dove now under his tier 2 tower, will break some suns. Down they go towards the United. Dharmic Pillars on the backline. Hurrywin's just going to be able to dance around, cast those spells nonetheless. Nika unable to execute his Scarab's Blessing onto Hurrywin, so that's spent. He's going to be able to walk his way out. Raffer ends up falling for the 3rd time this game. Might be a moment now where Genetics can start to weather the level gap storm here. And eUnited continue to search for picks, and they found another.
That's got to be so frustrating for SSG. eUnited, with no respect in their eyes, just walk directly into your tier 2 tower. Variety tanks it up for maybe 15 full seconds as Vote gets forced back to base. Raffer tries to rotate in on the tail end, catch out the engagement, and have the rest of the SSG boys surge forward, but instead he gets caught out himself as eUnited decide to disengage and walk directly into him. He loses out on his life, but not too much on the tail end of it. eUnited don't go to the Pyromancer. They haven't grouped up on fire yet either. It's still going to be completely even, and Raffer's up in it just now.
This will be a fully reinforced fight. Snoopy starting to hit maybe that inflection point here where he had been kept down. I mean, 2-1 and 3 doesn't speak of being kept down, I suppose, but after some tough turnarounds there with Vote, now you got a fully stacked Transcendence, Aussie, Xe as well for Snoopy. This Heimdall's going to be swinging. Vote certainly potentially still harder, though. Has the Rage on his side. Almost on his way to what looks like a Titan's Bane there to round out these builds. So both Hunters is really the point I'm trying to make. They're going to be making a big difference here in some of these fights. And now you wonder about the point in the game where we've reached with Cheerio, if maybe Scream is now in the driver's seat for impacting these fights.
Scream and Variety have been doing a fantastic job engaging every single fight, and even though Vote has crit online, he can get huge damage output on these high-priority targets, he's been getting doved continuously, whereas Snoopy's been allowed to free cast with the space created from his frontliners. That's why we're starting to see a bit of a disparity created between the output from both Hunters.
Whoa, that's a big Sentinel of Zeus from Scream. He's slowed and damaged 3 in the back line here against SSG. United still finding some space on the front line. One final shot would have done it, but Hurry went unable to find it. TKO, though, over onto Cheerio, and that is an immediate... I was going to say FG call, and it still might be. If nothing else, United are going to rotate in that direction.
And look at the relic usage from SSG. Nothing available for Cheerio. Shell down for the next 10 seconds for Raffer. And he's going to want it now as he gets picked out for free. Snoopy gets kill credit. eUnited's turning this game on its head. They had no right winning this many engagements back-to-back, and now likely a fire giant to them?
It seems like it's not even so much is turning, but has turned at this point. Gold lead now back in favor of eUnited. FG started up. Raffer 30 seconds from being able to be back into these fights. Variety moving through. Dardes has to flicker his way out of this one. Genetics taken low here. Has the Scarab's Blessing.
Nice
All
body
but the body block from Snoopy is enough to save the execute. Variety has been fighting on the back line in the meantime. Both somehow stays alive. A sliver of HP. That would have made losing Variety a bit less tough of a pill to swallow there. A 1-for-none engagement just draws things out a little bit for SSG.
A 1-for-none in a 5 versus 4. Raffer's already back up and Variety's dead for a full 40 seconds. SSG still have a very slight lead. If the XP's been cut completely just about, as has the gold, but they can still group up. They know they're even. They have the time advantage. Still 30 seconds left on Variety's spawn. SSG needs to do something with this. If you don't want to go to Fire Giant, at least get a gold free, at least take down a mid tower, do something, force eUnited into a bad position, but instead, both teams returning to the farm. Yeah, eUnited's fine with that. Variety's going to come back online in about 10 seconds, not missing any sort of engagement. Space Station might have just missed a window.
Yeah, and you look at kind of the throws of this game, and obviously it's just the ebb and flow of you know, gold leads and XP leads and how things tend to work, but the first 15 minutes of this game, we're watching the eUnited side of the map consistently. It's SSG taking the fights to eUnited over and over and over again. But it's been quite the opposite, I think, for the last 10 or so minutes here. Small opening, though, for SSG. No ward coverage there for eUnited, so it is going to be the Fury taken down second in the game for Space Station Gaming. That makes maybe a potential FG call here at some point on the end of a fight a little bit easier.
It should be. If memory serves, that was the Primal Fury, so now SSG should have some additional mitigation, some additional damage on these objectives, but eUnited has had the aggressive positioning, the better ward placement for every single engagement around fire. I'm not sure that SSG is going to have the opportunity to leverage that.
eUnited are the ones starting up the Fire Giant now. Nika close by. Scream has found his way into the backline. Does have Sentinel of Zeus, but won't be able to use it. Dardes melts him down. Good prediction there. It's a Dharmic Pillars to lock in a couple members of eUnited. That's a Scarab's Blessing for Genetics here, and the Execute will weave its way through. Nika finds the second kill of this fight. Variety on full-blown retreat mode has already burned the beads, but the stun won't connect. Hurry Wind looking to use that ultimate to his advantage here, and we'll toss out a few of those charges just to chase down the members of SSG, but now has to dash his way out. Will use the leap. Nika, full-on chase, but it's going to be the back off, and now maybe that Primal Fury pays off with a Fire Giant attempt.
20 seconds left on the respawn. Scream moves up just a little bit too far, gets CC'd out, immediately blown up. He does get his jump off, but doesn't have enough time to use that ultimate, so he just immediately falls, gets no value. Fire Giant, quarter health, who's in range. Snoopy TP's into the back.
Snoopy is here. Hello, Snop. I'm not sure he's going to do much with it. He's just going to move his way back. SSG, I don't think he's there. Yeah, so he will be able to escape. Maybe there was a small opening there. I was as surprised as you were. But he's just going to safely back between speed and nothing else there. Lucky for him, SSG won't return and take the speed buff there for themselves. So a 5-man Fire Giant push oncoming here for Space Station Gaming. The pull, the tug of war back and forth. Now 4K in the lead gold-wise. Our SSG after eUnited had delayed out this game. You need to, I think, make a big difference here on this map. Try to get these tier 2 towers down after SSG. Fully pull out this gold lead.
You absolutely... a Phoenix. 30 minutes in, you have Fire Giant on 5 members. If you don't get at least one Phoenix, you can classify that as a failed Fire Giant push. SSG have fantastic siege potential. Nika can dive deep into the backline. Cheerio does the same. Raffer's been doing a fantastic job just making sure that Boat and Dardes are able to free cast. He's been creating a lot of space for his boys. So if he just drops the Dharmic Pillars in deep, then backs up and plays around his carries, that's going to be SSG... Space Station, rather, way into these Phoenixes. They can absolutely blow it up. The defense from eUnited is slightly weaker. Hurrywin playing a non-standard mage is going to have a much harder time keeping the minion waves out. Snoopy's got a much slower auto-attack chain, so he's going to need to pick his fights very wisely. And Genetics, at this point, with 5 members staring at him, if he goes for an abduct, he should get blown up instantly. He's going to have to play a little bit further back and look for the ultimates, which means that it's really going to be up to Variety and Scream exclusively to find the backline dive. SSG should be absolutely favored on these engagements. It's whether or not they decide to group up on each tier 2 or go immediately into a Phoenix.
Well, Scream had pushed out the short lane there, so Cheerio is back and dealing with the wave. The waves will clash right towards the middle there, so no big push on the right side tier 2 tower, but healthy enough, our SSG, they might still feel confident just to knock it down, as its health will likely melt pretty quickly nonetheless. Instead, it's going to be the mid lane tower here. Off to the side goes Hurrywin, so kind of gives you the eyes of what eUnited are looking to do here, and it's not even step out against these tier 2 towers. So now the 4K gold lead ballooned on up to right around that 6, pushing 7K mark here shortly for SSG, is the tier 2 tower on the right side will be the next target.
even if you get this gold lead, getting these tier 2 towers, it's really only going to help you maybe sell out your boots, get another item that way, level up your actives, but right now, both teams are rapidly approaching full build. It seems to me that Genetics is the only one who doesn't have his 6th item online, and as the support, that's no surprise there. The same could be said of Space Station, so yeah, you've got about an 8,000 gold lead at this point, but 32 minutes in, that's starting to mean less and less as time goes on.
SSG have taken the Pyromancer here. In the meantime, Snoopy connects with his ultimate, pinged down maybe just outside of Phoenix range, but Genetics remedies that as Raffer will be pulled on back in. Hurrywin is able to get the kill. Nika doesn't find the execute here in this fight, and there's a Scarab's Blessing to save the life of Scream. Pulls him right on back. This base has been saved for the moment. eUnited get themselves a kill. The knockback on Adardes won't result in a re-engage, but eUnited have delayed things and gotten themselves a pick.
That was an absolutely amazing team fight from eUnited. We see Variety gets the pluck in. What does Hurrywin do? Most mages, they would just wait for Heimdall's ultimate to finish out so he can do the burst damage on whoever the target is. Instead, Hurrywin goes into his ultimate, starts throwing fire at the rest of SSG, effectively zoning them out and making sure that Raffer is left alone on an island, creating enough space for the rest of his team to immediately blow him up. And then Scream moves over, making sure that no one could rotate through the jungle, trades out his life, but who cares? Genetics is there with Scarab's Blessing. eUnited are playing crispy on the defense.
And they want this Oni Fury here. Nobody from SSG is going to be in range, I think. Smartly reset as Dardes had thrown out a little bit of objective burn there. Then Merlin has absolutely reached the point in the game where he's going to be doing big damage to targets. Slightly less damage, though, than maybe his highest potential, as it's the Sovereignty picked up for Dardes to round out the build.
Another Sovereignty won't hurt, especially considering Raffer hasn't picked it up. It's a large source of health. It gives you some protections as well. So having that on you just means that the dive potential, the damage potential coming through your way is going to be cut a little bit, but he's sacrificing a lot of damage in his build. And if you look at the player damage chart on the left-hand side, it's already getting reflected. He's getting blown out of the water, already a 7,000 damage differential. And that 7,000 damage differential is coming from a Baba Yaga. That's not a god you think of when you think of long-range artillery strikes, but Hurrywin just doing a good job of making sure that he's staying involved in these fights, dropping his damage out, and playing pretty safely.
Yeah, the ultimates from Hurrywin have certainly connected for their value. I mean, now at this point, I mean, Sovereignty aside, this is the point in the game where Dardes should be farming up damage, and a Fire Giant attempt could be the opening to do so. This is absolutely sniffed out by SSG. Can they do anything about it, though, is the follow-up question. It's Raffer on the front line, will get pulled on back. He's able to stay alive here throughout it. Fire Giant has been stopped by eUnited. Looking, poking, prodding, just for an engage here. Scream taking a lot of damage now on the front line. Genetics locked down. There is a bit of a reverse stun, though. Nika is able to swoop on through and get himself the execute. It's full-on retreat for eUnited. Sentinel of Zeus will slow down SSG on the offense, and Snoopy will turn him around and thank him for it. Low health here in these small corridors. Cheerio gets the kill on Hurrywin. It's been a minute since we'd seen the Robin in the kill feed. Scream, though, will pull one back onto Robin, who's now on the opposite side from where he wants to be. Vote will hit the ricochet and hit the kill as the Aegis keeps him alive. Double stun from one will lock him down here. Snoopy back in his own blue buff pit, and this one might fizzle out with the dead Snoopy. Variety still lurking. 4 for 2, though, when the dust settles with SSG on top.
That fight looked like it was about to go eUnited's way. Variety finds a multi-man punch, hits 4 people with the ultimate, drops multiple targets on the side of SSG down to about 1/10 health. But meanwhile, while Variety's destroying the back line, Nika, Dardes, Vote, and Cheerio are doing the exact same to eUnited, and they just get a little bit ahead. They get a little bit more value off of their dive, but the backliners for both teams largely just got blown out that engagement. I mean, yeah, the backline Dardes and Vote get to survive, but they didn't get much effective damage off on the targets on eUnited that fell because of Variety's positioning. The same can be said of the backliners for eUnited because of Nika and Raffer. Both teams completely reliant on that dive for these engagements to go well. SSG just come out a little bit ahead.
And the writing's kind of been on the wall here since how this early game started. Nika has just kept this ball rolling. Second highest damage in the game, just behind Hurrywind on that Baba Yaga. This Achilles has been absolutely pivotal, not only in this game, but just to Nika in general throughout SSG's success over the last 6 or so games. And will be here to try to force us into a Game 3. Worth mentioning, though, Dardes obviously mid-table when it comes to damage, but 4-1 and 3 has been finding the important, maybe finishing touches of damage. That's maybe what you look for here. We are moved into a fully stacked team fight, though. Beads available for Snoopy and Hurrywind in the mid lane. It's going to be Variety who tries to walk his way and successfully will do so to get himself out. So only Beads for the carries for eUnited. Beads and Aegis, though, for Dardes. Nothing for Vote, and maybe that's an opening for eUnited to take advantage of.
They should be looking for the engagement, but they have to be playing safe. They just lost one 5-on-5. They're not looking to lose another one. Had that gone any cleaner for SSG, that likely could have been a Fire Giant. United absolutely know it. That's why they're taking this much more precarious positioning, this defensive positioning around mid, allowing SSG the space to start up Fire Giant if they so choose. United's looking to make SSG make a mistake.
Pyromancer is there for potentially a steal, but SSG are going to find some good lockdown with Raffer there on the front line. The silence, of course, so good at limiting dive or covering disengage, whatever you want it to do. The utility is there for the Ganesh. Still going to be Fire Giant looked around. Now, though, Mifflin, I mean, there is a wrinkle thrown into it, of course, at this point, and hence Fire Giant. I doubt any Fury in the game is going to be worthwhile, but the door is open now for maybe one person from one team or the other to kind of move over, sneak away that Fury while everyone else is pivoting around the FG.
If it were an Oni Fury, that would be an absolutely valuable play. It would open up the map, force whichever team that's defending against it to have to worry about contentious minion waves as Fire Giants gets pulled. But because it's going to be that buff that gives you additional damage to these objectives, the Primal Fury, you don't really want to dedicate that much time to it. You want to just sit back, play around the actual objective being the Fire Giant. If they're able to find a clean pick and know that they can get it for free, it will be nice. It would be a good boon. But right now, dedicating resources to that side of the map is just a misplay, especially considering how quickly both teams are able to burn this objective.
Well, it is the Fire Giant dance, and this is a middle school slow dance. Both groups of people on opposite sides of the room, United on one side of the Fire Giant pit, SSG on the other, neither wanting to cross sides and dare tango with the other. I almost wonder now where this first engagement kind of comes from. I mean, it's really been a lot on Scream. I mean, if you look at where Scream has been positioning in these fights, it's whether he's caught out or trying to do it, it's been the Sentinel of Zeus in the back line that has slowed down SSG so heavily.
It has, or it's exactly what gives SSG their way in. If he's moving up and gets caught out instantly, of course he's going to lose his life. SSG being so hesitant on these engagements, 2 members over on that Gold Fury means that SSG absolutely have a way in here, but they haven't spotted it out just yet. And if no one sees it happening, that means it might as well not have happened, and eUnited are going to run away with it for free. Now SSG get that sound timer. They know it's happened. They know they have the numbers advantage, and that's why you see them sort of surge forward.
That's the threat. Scream is going to have free backline coverage here, depending on how quickly and where he chooses to rotate over into. Right now, playing cautiously, Cheerio is going to be able to shrug off at least one bit of CC here, and it might be Snoopy's damage, but look at the reverse blinks and flickers, but the defensive play from Snoopy's going to get him out of this fight. 3 ultimates have been burnt already for SSG. Snoopy is going to look to connect onto one himself. Down comes crashing Raffer, and Hurrywind will finish off the kill. An opening fight for United that could get worse for SSG if they're not able to disengage. Scream has corralled one on in, and it's Nika now who takes a tumble. The Achilles, so pivotal, won't be able to participate for the next minute or so. Variety wants to blink back through, won't connect on the knockback, and United are going to rotate over to the right-hand side.
SSG overcommitting on a Snoopy. Raffer goes so deep on his own and loses his life to an admittedly strange interaction between Hercpool and Heimdall Ultimate. But that all is done because Scream so adeptly dives in, finds a 3-man knockup, finds a 3-man Sentinel of Zeus to create space, make sure that Spacestation have to look at him, and instead of diving on a Snoopy, that's clean play from eUnited. Now Fire Giant on 5 members, 2 members dead on the side of SSG for 20 seconds. This should be a Phoenix.
And they don't care about minions. Look at the right-hand wave here, all the way pushed up against the United side of the map. I mean, why would you? There's still 2 members down for SSG. You've got 3 very tanky team players here to move in on this right-hand side. Darda is just kind of being sold out now by Variety. The Merlin's going to have to flicker away back into the fountain. Respawns back, though, so fully restacked shortly will be SSG. Variety on his own in the back is going to be able to shoulder bash his way out of the front line there. Raffer is going to drop the Dharmic Pillars, but it looks like a successful disengage for the time being for eUnited, but I imagine this chase will drag on.
Hurrywin is doing so much damage on this disengage. 2 ticks of his ultimate dropped Cheerio to half health,
It's
and now
the dream.
running away. He's swinging for 400 damage as SSG just walk headlong into it. They're looking for something here, but eUnited on the way out.
Yeah, Snoopy says, no chance, and Nika turns around the ultimate immediately when the Achilles tries to stun down some. I mean, you look at it as a setup kill pressure tool, but Snoopy can disengage a fight for his mid laner just as well. 5 members of eUnited have the FG buff for the next 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It's already a right side Phoenix down, and Mifflin, the rest of the map might be theirs for the taking. We've talked about eUnited on the defensive end. What do you make of this SSG comp trying to defend their base?
When you have a Merlin, your defense is always going to be baseline good. That's how strong Merlin is in the late game. Maybe a little bit weaker than we'd like with the advent of the Sovereignty pickup, but other than that, they still have fantastic tools. Vote on this Huyi is going to be able to separate fights with the Breaking Suns. Rapper can do the exact same with Dharmic Pillars. I'm worried about how involved Cheerio is going to be allowed to be. He's only really seen success when he's able to take these split-off engagements from eUnited, but on a Phoenix Siege, it really simplifies the game into this 5-on-5 in a concentrated area. Cheerio's so squishy, he hasn't been able to find good damage output, and now with 5 members staring him down, I wonder how he's going to do it at all.
And I mean this with the most respect. I mean, it's easy to kind of forget that this Robin has been a part of this game after the first 15, 20 minutes. He's just been so mitigated by eUnited. Now is the chance to siege in, though, for eUnited. 1.5 minutes left on the Fire Giant buffs. Then, of course, the FG will spawn a minute after that. Maybe just waiting on these fire minions in the short lane to crash on in. SSG are going to have to send at least 1 person over to save those from reaching the Titan. Variety moving in to this mid-side Phoenix. It's Cheerio now that rotates through. Scream has found his way into the backline here in this fight, but some shielding will keep Dardes alive. Low health on the left side. Phoenix Sunbreaker from Vote is going to do a good job of mitigating some of the health pool of the United here. Variety drops down the boulder. Look at those health bars melt though. Scream is able to capitalize. Nika suddenly caught out. The execute will dash away. A nice double stun there. Maybe saves his life. It's the Titan under attack. The fire minions are here to play as well, but it's only 1 kill on the board, and I think this is smart from eUnited. Let's not push the issue at half HP.
Yeah, they get back up. Oni Fury is respawning, but they know that they can just use the Fire Giant time to respawn some of that health. Get ready for this mid-Phoenix siege. Cheerio's dead for 40 seconds. Fire minion waves already flooding the base. SSG, good luck.
They are going to push the issue, and it's going to be in the mid lane here instead. Good silence down into the frontliners here of eUnited. Ultimately, the Phoenix falls, and that's the disengage button for eUnited. But Rapper's going to lock in 4 to the Dharmic Pillars. Genetics is the only one, though, left stumbling away from this one. Vote will send an arrow hurtling away. Ricochet won't connect for much. Variety just making sure nobody is full-on chasing eUnited. Watch out for Scream, though, and SSG have the wherewithal to not overextend into a jungle where you don't have much vision. It's going to be the Oni Fury now. Talk about brutal. 3 waves with fire minions and Oni on top of it. SSG have dire straits ahead. This is going to be easily the most difficult potential Titan to defend.
Not all is lost, though. That right side Phoenix is going to be respawning shortly for SSG, but 2 Phoenixes down, 3 total. That right side Phoenix is never going to be the same that it was. It is damaged goods at this point. It's not coming back to full health. My man is hurt. It is bleeding out, and now eUnited have another way to force Spacestation to group up on one side of the map. If all 3 Phoenixes are down, you group up around their Titan. With 1 Phoenix left alive, SSG are going to definitely want to keep it standing, so Fire Giant respawning in 15 seconds. That's going to eUnited's way uncontested. If SSG move up, we're going to call them inters for that. They have no right defending this fire with how many waves are flooding into their base. So this should go their way. United are then going to group up on the right side. Phoenix force SSG to take a 5-on-5 engagement while continually battling against these minion waves that are going to keep flooding into their spawn. It's going to be a rough one. It's going to take a miracle play. Cheerio's going to have to step up to bat, man. He's not been involved in any of these fights in a meaningful way in the last 20 or so minutes, as you pointed out earlier, and it's still ringing true. Even in the last engagement, Cheerio gets just about nothing going.
The time is now for SSG to defend. The only help they're going to get outside of the Titan is this right side Phoenix that is now respawned. Oni fire waves have been dealt with, but you still got fire waves in the mid and left to look towards. This is patient and maybe clinical from eUnited. But now it's Cheerio who makes his way into the backline. Snoopy evaporated, but he's able to disengage here. They're not able to get down the Heimdall, but you can't say the same for Hurrywind. SSG have maybe found themselves an opening. Scream, what are you doing, man? He blinks back through, finds a Sentinel of Zeus onto SSG. Could that be the opening now for eUnited to turn things around? The answer is no for the moment, but you got to admire the aggression.
That's the first time Cheerio's got an impact play. Immediately that ultimate gets him in there, finds the pick. Now Scream in some trouble.
Scream taken low. Snoopy finally taken down by Dardes. Titan has been reached by the fire minions here. Variety is going to pull off one side. The other two members of eUnited left alive off to the other. To the respawn timers. 35 seconds on Hurrywind. The carries are down. You look at the actives though. Hurrywind, Aegis, and Beads. So not all is lost. Dardes has neither. Only Aegis for Vote. So you want to take stock. This Baba Yaga is going to be a little extra difficult to kill here on maybe one final siege for United.
Snoopy's dead for 50 seconds, though. This Fire Giant buff only got about 2.5 minutes left on it. That means effectively one of those minutes is going to be removed, as the United have to wait for that 5-man stack before they want to move up again. SSG, on the other hand, right side Phoenix maintained, left side Phoenix coming up soon, and they're already pushing out these waves. This is the best defense potential that they're going to have since the original. Now, United really only have one way back in cleanly, maybe group up around this mid-Phoenix or the left one before they can fully respawn, but that said, SSG have shown they're willing to take the fight outside of their own base now, and it works out for them. They engaged that battle instead of waiting for eUnited to come towards them. Cheerio finds a fantastic dunk, Nika immediately there to follow up, and that's SSG's way back in. They have to spearhead this comp. They didn't change their draft. They're still all backline divers. They just haven't been afforded that opportunity recently.
Uh-oh, Scream has maybe found an opening onto Vote, who has to dash away, but watch out, Variety. He's here in the back line as well. He'll dash on through, and Vote will go down. Scream saved by Genetics. That's a Scarab's blessing, as Variety will be silenced out by Rapper. It's a 4 versus 5 fight as eUnited are fully reinforced here. Darda is knocked up. This is the fight for eUnited to maybe end this game. Darda is now taken down. The carries are gone. Look out for Snoopy. He's pushing down the mid lane here as well. This is all a distraction for eUnited on the left side of the map. Nika has taken down Scream elsewhere, though. Fire minions pouring into the base. It's Snoopy against no one else. eUnited, who's in first place, says eUnited, and Snoopy is going to end the game in 49 minutes.
I was not expecting this showing. eUnited has been trending down for the longest bit of time, whereas SSG has been doing the exact opposite. But these guys look cohesive. Maybe it's just that matchup knowledge. They 2-0'd them last time. They do it again. They just might be the SSG killer squad. But these new unorthodox picks from eUnited really shaking up the meta. If they keep moving forward with this, I'm not sure how any team's going to prepare for them.
I mean, this is, remember, just to really wrap this all up, this is a 6-game win streaking, or was a 6-game win streaking SSG. Had lost 2-0 to eUnited earlier this year, now lose again 2-0 to eUnited. So eUnited, at least in phase 1 here of the SPL, complete the 2-0 of 2-0s over SSG. Continue, I think, in being one of the hardest teams to lock down. You just don't know what eUnited you're going to get. And SSG, they got the one that's hard to beat here today. That's a 2-0 to start off this Saturday of SPL action. We'll go back to Gormizer to finish us off.
Couldn't have put it better myself, Dave. It's been 5 weeks since Spacestation Gaming have lost, and for some reason it's just eUnited that has their number aggro, and well, they get rid of that win streak, and honestly, they get rid of the early game lead SSG had in that game. I mean, for, 20 minutes, it felt like SSG had a control, then it turns into a tug of war. I mean, even at the end, it wasn't really decisive for it to be eUnited.
Yeah, eUnited had the momentum for a good amount of that late game, but certainly the early game was all SSG, and that's kind of what I expected when I looked at this draft once we loaded in. This Baba pick there for Hurrywind, this god, I think, is so underrated because her late game is bonkers. You get the right ingredients on your potion, you can do almost 1,000 damage per potion toss. Right here, 3 red pots, it does a lot of damage. It really is underrated how much this damage this character does, but her early game is really weak. It takes forever for her to really get her damage online. But once you get to late game, her damage just starts coming out of nowhere. It's hard to react to this damage, and I think that that's something that a lot of people really underestimate in terms of going up against this character. Hurry did almost 50k damage this game. I mean, I know it was a 50-minute game, but he ended up with 47k or something like that, way above what Dardes was putting on this Merlin, and its damage is very hard to react to. And I think that this character in Baba Yaga, we're going to see more of her. I just wonder if she's good enough in the early game to consistently get to her phenomenal late game. This time, eUnited gets to that phenomenal late game, and eUnited win because of the damage output that Hurry was having.
I'm actually really happy you highlighted where that damage was coming from first in those potions, because I saw almost every single highlight when it started with a potion toss. It had 3 reds going into it, so it looked really good. And that does mean that Space Station Gaming, well, it's tangible for some of these teams to maybe take away that first place spot. Now 9-4 as they go down. And eUnited at 5-8, they're pulling away. Again, what Obey needed for a lot of this was for Renegades and eUnited to continue losing to try and break into those top 6. And a win right there is not looking too good as we go into the last week before the playoffs. So that's, I would argue, one of the more monumental wins that we're going to get to see. And that's including the fact that Sanguine are going to be fighting for potentially a tie for first, or maybe seeing the Knights look to try and climb their way up in the standings as well in just a second.
Yeah, Obey Alliance fans certainly maybe even more upset than Space Station fans at that loss, because I believe that does eliminate Obey from being able to make it into that top 6. But with the start that they had, I think it's pretty expected for them to finish bottom 2 in the first phase. Yeah. Certainly some good things coming from that team moving on. And eUnited has not punched their ticket quite yet. They still have to contend with Renegades and with Radiance, who have a couple games still in hand to make sure that they get that top 6.
Well, they just took down the team that was on the hottest streak in the SPL so far this year. We actually have Hurrowwind able to stand by. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that Baba Yaga, but definitely talk to us about that Yanis.
We have a lot to talk to Hurrywin about after this one. Yeah, go ahead. What do you think? Talk to me about the Yanis first, and then maybe the Baba Yaga after it.
I don't know. I mean, what am I supposed to say? It's a team effort. Minus maybe Screen, but everyone else is working together. I don't know. That's just how Janus plays sometimes. Sometimes you just... The ult, I mean, you can aim it at people, but ultimately sometimes it's going to hit, sometimes it's going to not.
Right.
Today they just seem to all land, so that's good.
Always humble there, though. But then in Game 2, we get our first look at Baba Yaga here in the SPL. And you know, as high level or as specific maybe as you want to get with this one, what do you like in her as a mid laner? What made you pick her up here in Game 2?
Well, she's just a new character as well, so I think there's a lot of uncomfortability in playing against her right now. So I have a lot more practice playing her than people have playing against her. So I think that's one main thing that is good that's going for right now. And I also just think that a lot of her damage is kind of hard to see coming.
Right.
I think even spectator, like watching back some of my games from before, it's kind of hard to tell like what's doing damage to people. I think that's a big strength that the character has. I also think some people don't, when they've been playing her, they're not going stacking items, which I think kind of just wastes the passive. I mean, they're a bit more expensive. Double pen is kind of the meta right now, but I think when you have like 1k power in your build by the end, that justifies the build as it is.
I believe it was Book of Thoth into Warlock Staff that you ended up going there in Game 2. It certainly looked good. A bit of a zoom out, though, for you guys now. I mean, maybe tough sledding, some speed bumps here for eUnited here, but you've now 2-0'd SSG, who, at least still for the moment, Sanguine still have to play here today, are the first-place team in the league. What are generic vibes around the eUnited squad right now? This one's got to feel good, especially where SSG are in the standings.
Yeah, it's good. It's just something that we needed, you know. It's a bit of a reminder that we are a good team and we can be a good team. Things haven't necessarily been going our way, but our morale was still pretty good even before we went into this set. You know, we beat SSG last time as well,
right.
So our confidence was high on that note as well. But it was just something that I felt like we needed going forward, especially if we're going to be making playoffs, just to remind ourselves that like we can beat the best teams if we show up and play well. So.
Well, after this win, you're still in that spot for the playoffs, so congratulations to you here. Hurrywin, big win over SSG to start off this Saturday of SPL action. Will SSG hold on to that first place spot, though? Sanguine might have something to say about it. We've got that match for you right after this.
Thanks.